Darkness. A river gurgles, wind whispers through reeds. A woman weeps, not a sound of comfort, but of soul-deep sorrow. She searches for something lost forever. They call her llaiorona, the weeping woman. Her wails echo through generations, a chilling tale told to frighten children. But for some, the legend is real. They hear her cries in the night, they see her ghostly figure by the water, and they know her pain is eternal. A beat-up jeep rumbles down a dusty road. Inside, three friends. Miguel, a jaded writer seeking inspiration. Gabriela, a photographer drawn to the macabre. And Rafael, a skeptic with a secret fear. They are searching for La Llorona. Miguel wants to capture her story. Gabriela, her image. Rafael, to prove them both wrong. But the legend has a way of finding those who seek it, and tonight it has chosen them. The old bridge groans under the weight of the jeep, iron corrodes eaten by time and neglect. Below, the river rushes dark and deep. This is where she's said to appear. Miguel feels a chill. Gabriela sets up her camera, lens pointed towards the swirling water. Rafael nervously taps the steering wheel. The air grows heavy with anticipation, and then they hear it, a faint cry, carried on the wind, a woman's despair. The cry echoes across the water. Miguel shivers, fear battling with fascination. Gabriela, transfixed, snaps a photo into the darkness. Rafael's face pales. He knows this sound from his childhood nightmares. The friends listen, holding their breath. The cry fades. Silence descends once more. But the night feels different now, charged with something unseen, something full of sorrow, and something else, something menacing. Miguel, his hand trembling, writes in his notebook. Each stroke of the pen is a struggle, as if the weight of his memories is too much to bear. The dim light of the flashlight casts eerie shadows on the pages, making the words seem alive, almost as if they are whispering secrets of the past. Gabriela, reviewing her photos, sees a blur of white near the riverbank. She squints, trying to make sense of the image. Is it a trick of the light or something more sinister? The figure seems to move, almost beckoning her to come closer, to uncover the truth hidden within the pixels. Rafael, staring out the window, remembers a story his grandmother told him. The night is silent, but his mind is loud with echoes of the past. His grandmother's voice, filled with fear and sorrow, recounts the tale of a woman whose grief turned her into a ghostly figure, forever haunting the riverbanks. About a woman who drowned her children. Her sorrow and guilt transformed her into La Llorona, the weeping woman. She wanders the night, searching for her lost children, her cries piercing the silence and sending shivers down the spines of those who hear her. About her cries echoing through the night, about La Llorona. The legend says that her wails can be heard for miles, a mournful sound that chills the blood and warns of her presence. Those who hear her cries are said to be cursed, doomed to encounter her wrath. The legend begins to intertwine with their reality. Strange occurrences start to happen. Lights flicker, shadows move on their own, and an unexplainable coldness fills the air. The friends feel a growing sense of dread, as if they are being watched by unseen eyes. The line between belief and disbelief blurs. They question their sanity, wondering if the stories they heard as children could actually be true. The once clear boundary between the real and the supernatural becomes increasingly hazy. As the night wears on, they realize they are not just observers of this story. They are participants, drawn into a narrative that is as old as time itself. The fear in their eyes is palpable as they come to terms with the fact that they are living the legend. They are now characters within it. The shadows of the past have come to life, and there is no escaping the grip of La Llorona. The night is filled with her cries, and the friends know that they must face the ghostly figure if they are to survive until dawn. They drive deeper into the night, the forest around them growing denser with each passing mile. The air is thick with the scent of pine and damp earth, and the only sound is the hum of the engine and the occasional rustle of leaves in the wind. Each lost in their thoughts, the passengers barely speak, Miguel grips the steering wheel tightly, his knuckles white. Gabriela stares out the window, her mind racing with 1,000 possibilities. Raphael, usually the joker of the group, sits silently, his face a mask of unease. The road narrows, twisting through thick vegetation. The trees seem to close in on them, their branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. The path ahead is barely visible, swallowed by the darkness. The jeep's headlights cut through the darkness, revealing a figure standing in the road ahead. The figure is still, almost as if it has been waiting for them. A woman in a white gown. The fabric of her dress billows slightly in the breeze, giving her an ethereal appearance, her face obscured by shadow, making it impossible to discern her features. The darkness seems to cling to her as if she is a part of it, but her eyes, they glow with an unnatural light, a piercing, otherworldly glow that sends chills down their spines. It's as if those eyes can see right through them, into their very souls. The jeep screeches to a halt. Miguel gasps, his heart pounding in his chest. The sudden stop jolts everyone back to reality. Gabriela fumbles for her camera, her hands shaking. She wants to capture this moment, to prove that it's real, but her fear makes her clumsy. Raphael screams, his fear finally breaking through. His voice echoes in the confined space of the car, a raw, primal sound. The figure takes a step closer. The movement is slow, deliberate, as if savoring their terror. Each step seems to reverberate through the night. The friends are frozen in terror, unable to move or speak. Their minds race, but their bodies are paralyzed by fear. They can only watch as she approaches, her glowing eyes never leaving them. The air grows colder, and a sense of impending doom settles over them. What does she want? Why is she here? The questions swirl in their minds, but no answers come. All they can do is wait and hope that this nightmare will end. The woman raises her hand. Her voice, filled with anguish and rage, pierces the night. It is the cry they heard at the bridge, but now amplified, filled with a chilling power. The friends, paralyzed by fear, can only watch as the woman approaches. Her screams seem to hold a strange power, rooting them to their seats. The car is filled with the scent of river water and something else, something rotten, ancient and profoundly sad. The jeep's headlights flicker and die, plunging the group into darkness. The woman's scream cuts off abruptly. Silence descends, heavier than before. Suddenly, Raphael gasps.
It's not her,
he whispers, his voice trembling.
What do you mean?
Gabriela whispers back, her voice tight with fear.
Who else could it be?
Raphael takes a shaky breath.
Don't you see? She's not after us. She's after him.
He points a trembling finger at Miguel, who sits in the driver's seat, eyes wide with terror. From the back of the jeep, a child's cry pierces the darkness. It is a cry that seems to come from the depths of despair, echoing through the confined space of the vehicle. The sound is haunting, reverberating off the cold metal and glass, filling the air with an unsettling presence. A sound of pure terror. It is not just a cry, but a wail that carries with it the weight of untold horrors. The kind of sound that makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, that makes your heart race and your breath catch in your throat. It is a sound that chills them to the bone. The passengers in the jeep exchange fearful glances, their faces pale and drawn. They can feel the fear seeping into their very bones, a cold dread that seems to wrap around them like a shroud, a sound that confirms their worst fears. They had hoped it was just their imagination, a trick of the mind in the dark, but this cry, this wail, is all too real. It is the manifestation of their deepest fears, the confirmation that something is terribly, terribly wrong. A sound that reveals the horrifying truth. The truth that they are not alone, that there is something else in the jeep with them. Something that should not be there, something that defies all logic and reason. The cry is not coming from outside the jeep, it's coming from within. The realization hits them like a punch to the gut, leaving them breathless and terrified. They had thought they were safe inside the vehicle, but now they know that the danger is much closer than they had ever imagined. And as Miguel stares into the rearview mirror, he sees why. His eyes widen in horror as he catches sight of the figure in the back seat. His mind races, trying to make sense of what he is seeing, but there is no rational explanation for the apparition before him. Sitting in the back seat, illuminated by an eerie glow, is the ghostly figure of a young boy. The boy's presence is both ethereal and terrifying, a spectral vision that seems to flicker in and out of existence. The glow that surrounds him casts long, haunting shadows across the interior of the Jeep. His clothes are soaked through as if he has just emerged from a body of water. The fabric clings to his small frame, dripping with an otherworldly wetness that defies explanation. Each drop of water seems to echo in the silence, a reminder of the boy's tragic fate. His face pale and drawn, a ghostly visage that speaks of suffering and sorrow. The boy's features are gaunt, his skin almost translucent in the eerie light. There is a hollowness to his cheeks, a darkness under his eyes that hints at the torment he has endured. His eyes filled with an unbearable sadness. They are the eyes of someone who has seen too much, who has experienced pain beyond their years. The depth of emotion in those eyes is almost too much to bear, a silent plea for help that goes unanswered, and he is staring directly at Miguel. The boy's gaze is unwavering, piercing through the darkness and into Miguel's very soul. It is a look that speaks of recognition, of a connection that transcends the boundaries of life and death. Miguel feels a chill run down his spine as he realizes that this is not just a ghost, but a lost soul seeking solace.